Hey, welcome back, sports fans, to a brand new season of Sports, of course, with Jonah and RPF. RPF, this is season number 4. Can you believe it? Can you believe it?
I can, because we are in Survivor and The Voice rules. 2 seasons per year. It's true. We have a winter, and then we have... Anyway.
Yes,
I'm excited.
Yes, as always, we are kicking off our brand new season with a sort of football preview, an extravaganza, if you will. This is an homage to the first recording we ever did. It's kind of, we got a very similar layout. We're going to go down. We're going to break down all of our predictions. Of course, as everyone who has been listening to the show, we're going to break down our locked in predictions. This is good as gold. You can bring
infallible.
You can bring these to any casino you want to, and then asterisks, our producers are saying, "Oh my gosh, you're gonna kill us."
And come with bail money, yeah.
Come with bail money. All right, but before we jump into that, you can listen to us anywhere you listen to your podcast: Apple, Spotify, Podbean. We can be found socially on Instagram and Twitter, and of course, our dedicated YouTube channel. Just go to the search bars in any of those and type in "Sports, of course" with Jonah and RPF, and we'll pop right up. RPF. Let's not waste any time. Let's get right into it. We're gonna have a jam-packed show because we're gonna predict,
True, but can we just take a moment to say how happy we are? Exactly, how happy we are after all this time. I mean, since that wild card game that Buffalo barely beat the Dolphins, I've been literally waiting for this moment, for this week to happen.
Well, yeah, that's because you have a good team.
Well, by the way, it's not always been a given, so we'll go over that. But yes, this is a brand new season. It is going to be, I mean, just across the board, it's going to be just really interesting to see. I mean, it's always fun to see a new season, but this is like what's up is down, down is up, and not everything's settled. And it's not going to be, Brady with the Patriots again. Or it's not going to be, this Aaron Rodgers doing his thing. It's going to be all new places, all new people. So anyways, I can hop in. If you want to hop in first, I can hop in.
I mean, it's all new places. I was so excited for the season that I started putting together a list of notable player movement, and it's extensive.
Yeah.
And what's really cool is the further I started diving into it, I was like, oh my gosh, he left that team. Oh my, where is he now? I was like,
it's true. It's very true.
So there's a ton going on. Where should we start? How about if we just start with?
I think we should start with our own teams. Well,
I was gonna say let's start with the biggest news, which is, and I know we've covered it in past shows, but it's finally football season. Biggest news around is number one, the New York Jets. Okay, Aaron Rodgers is no longer a Green Bay Packer. He's a New York Jet, and since we've last talked about it, he's managed to bring on Dalvin Cook as well to complement Breece Hall over there.
Well, first of all, I predicted that Aaron Rodgers needed a little spoon buddy Well, he needed a haircut. He needs a manicure. He needs to have better politics. But beyond all that, get a vaccine. But beyond all that, we are in territory. We are in territory that Aaron Rodgers, I told you, and of course it's not a shocker, he needed like a little buddy to hang out with because he's in a big bad city. No one knows him here. But he needs someone, he needs a wingman, small spoon to his big spoon type of feel. So then he has that with Dalvin Cook. He also has been living it up. He thinks he's Broadway Joe, name it. He is going to Broadway shows. He's going to the U.S. Open. He's hanging out with all these kind of, blonde, leggy, teammates. I'm kidding. No, he's actually, he's very much living his life as a dude with lots of money and access in the greatest city in the world. So that's interesting to see, and not that unpredictable. He's also been the star of Hard Knocks, which is the show on HBO that previews one team and he's been unexpectedly, human in some of his in some of his interactions with the camera and with his teammates. So I suspect he's nervous too. I think possibly for the first time in his career, he's nervous because is he, as I put here, is he Tom Brady year 1 Bucks or is he Tom Brady year 2 Bucks? That's the question. because he has more weapons than Brady had in year one in the Bucs, and Brady took them all the way to the game. Okay,
I mean, that's arguable. I think. I don't know.
He's the young talent that Aaron Rodgers has, and those receivers alone.
I don't know. I'm gonna disagree with that.
Okay. Anyway, the point
I'm
is
saying
that
Tom Brady had Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Gronkowski.
Gronk. So, yeah.
So I'm saying Brady had better weapons.
Well, okay. Okay, I don't know. I think the potential is so much higher for the Jets young guys. Listen, I'm a Dolphin fan. I do not want these guys to be the superstars they're about to be. I don't want to be Cheetah and Waddle Jr. all of a sudden, going crazy up and down the field with Aaron Rodgers' precision passing, which is like a fright. If you see him again in Hard Knocks, his accuracy is so good. It's so unbelievable. But anyway, I think he is either going to be Brady year one, Tampa, or Brady year two. And that's going to be the big balance. Because that's going to be, I think that could, to your point, being the biggest news, the biggest media hub in the world also, and being the biggest kind of like people love him or hate him, kind of just the whole world is divided on Aaron Rodgers. He is tilting the scale of balance in the NFL, I think. If he is a bust, which is, I think, not a huge possibility, but a good 35% chance that he's a total bust. He hates New York Jets. The offensive line breaks down. He's on his ass the entire time. If that happens, it's kind of like the tilting of the scale goes this way, and we have again the Bills dominating with the Dolphins, and everything else is But if Aaron Rodgers is all he can be, all of a sudden he finds his mojo again. He's happy playing football.
Yep.
Which he hasn't been happy in, I don't know, his whole life. All of a sudden he's playing happy. He's a happy dude, going to Broadway shows and, getting breakfast for leggy blondes. He literally can be menacing. The whole AFC East could be the most menacing conference or division in football. So that, I think you're right in the sense that he is the biggest news, even though the Jets are always overhyped because they're in New York. But I think in this case, he is kind of like this. Yeah, he's kind of like the tipping scale. The tipping point of the scale.
The hype is real. There's questions. There, if assuming everyone stays healthy, and then obviously that's like we should. You know what? Well, let's just take that asterisk, that preface out of any argument that we talk about when we talk predictions today. Let's just take that preface of if everyone stays healthy, because obviously
that's one of my points. I'm so sick of tired of everyone putting an asterisk on Tua. He's not made of Play-Doh for heaven's sakes. He had a concussion.
It's pretty close.
People have recovered. Anyway,
it's pretty close. But anyway. So I mean, it's you're right. Aaron Rodgers, I had the same thing in my notes, is basically if he can kind of have a resurgence of who he was, it's going to be scary. Not to be outdone, right? Not to be outdone, your Dolphins were like, oh, we should get even better, and we should go out and pick up Jalen Ramsey, which is no small player pickup.
Yeah, arguably the most important.
Yeah.
Well, most importantly is, to me, is Vic Fangio, which is the defensive genius. He's now our defensive coordinator. Everything, he's the GOAT of defensive coaches, right? Active coaches right now, and he
other than
chose
Belichick,
head coach. He's the defensive coach. Fangio chose the Dolphins over 3 other offers he had for more money, and because he believes in our head coach, which is the offensive genius. So we have,
and there's no state tax in Florida, so maybe it wasn't that much more money.
And maybe he was hanging out with like Cheetah and his friends in South Beach with other leggy blondes that happen to be cousins of Aaron Rodgers' friends. Anyway, thank you, but I digress in your once again backhanded compliment, disparaging of the Dolphins. Anyway, so Fangio to me was the missing point, because to jump into my Dolphins a bit, Fangio is the one that's going to make Jalen Phillips the boza of this year. Jalen Phillips is this incredibly no ceiling there's no ceiling for his potential superstar and linebacker that it's going to literally be as disruptive as any linebacker certainly we've ever had. Even back talking about James Oh my God, I'm blanking out. Taylor, Jason Taylor, that type of caliber. And also we have, and we have Christian Wilkins back in the fold, who is like an imposing presence in the middle of that line. Our defense, like you said, Jalen Ramsey, all world, everything. And then we have, oh, by the way, not for nothing, before Ramsey, we had a top 10, top 5 DBs and safeties. So I think we have what we didn't have was the coordination, the brain behind the policy. So I think that's what we have with Fangio. I think that's what we clearly have in our offense. And again, taking injury out of it, because that's always such a stupid, inevitable asterisk to everything.
If everyone stays
the
healthy,
Dolphins,
yeah, no shit.
Right. The Dolphins at full speed, with, by the way, I'm going to throw something in here. I think we're going to get, before the Halloween trade deadline, we're going to get Jonathan Taylor from the Colts as a running back. So I'm going to say the Dolphins at full speed are scary part 2. Bring it on, Aaron Rodgers and manifesto writing.
My favorite
I think
thing,
it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be fantastic to see.
My favorite thing when you talk all your hype about the Dolphins is when you bring up people that I've never even heard of.
Christian Wilkins, you never heard of?
They're fantastic.
Jalen Phillips, Christian Wilkins.
I'm not a Dolphins fan.
Okay.
No one's heard of them.
That's not true. That's not at all, in fact. Anyway, but how's this? You will. How's that?
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So what I find most interesting about this conference is, so of all the teams, right? As I was doing my pre-show notes here, the Bills are really the only team that didn't do anything
at all.
Like, the Patriots, you could argue, didn't do anything, but I got my two notable. Okay, please. My two notables are Juju Smith-Schuster and Ezekiel Elliott, and I'm like, meh.
It's not nothing.
But listen, here's the thing with Ezekiel Elliott. Big name, so everyone gets excited about it. Like, oh my gosh, Ezekiel Elliott! Oh my God, here he comes. But
you know how much I love that falsetto of yours.
but the thing, when you look at Ezekiel Elliott the past couple of years, all he does is just punch in from the 2-yard line. So he gets his touchdowns, but he only gets like 50 rushing yards a game. So my point is, we need to be at the 2-yard line in order for Ezekiel
you have to get to the 2-yard line.
We have to be there in order for him to actually do something. It's going to be hard, man. It's going to be really hard. But anyway, I digress. Going back to the Bills, they haven't really done anything. And I was looking at their depth chart, and really, like, you've got Stephon Diggs, who's kind of disgruntled a little bit here, and Gabriel Davis, and then like some okay running backs, and it's kind of like, it's a very interesting conference. We're going to get into our predictions later, so we'll move on.
But I'll tell you this: I think, for just a quick headline for the Bills, for me, was, if it's possible to fall down the chart, the power ranking chart.
Yep.
In my mind, Bills have fallen because they've stayed the same, and everyone else moved up so heavily. Yet they can surprise still by being.
Of course.
I think, so there's kind of to me, they're still going to be. Well, I'll tell you later my prediction, but I think they're going to be, at some point, they're going to be like, I think, like 6 and 8, and going to go, wait, what? Or 8 and 6, and they're going to go, wait, what's happening with the Bills? And they're going to snap out of it, and then all of a sudden,
Right.
So anyway, so let's go. Let me go into my Dolphins so I can get out of the way, and you can roll me all you want. No, that's not. You think that's my preview for the Dolphins? Oh my God! Just grab a coffee or something.
All right.
Anyway, all right. So Tua. Okay, literally, I've read 40 different places and reports about the season, and not only 2 out of the multitudes of stories I've read and saw have mentioned Tua in any kind of respectful way. Everyone else is like saying, whatever. All right. I've never seen anyone be that dismissed and see the actual numbers, the final numbers that are like apples to apples comparison to other quarterbacks. And Tua and Mahomes are 1-2 in about 7 of the categories. So, and that's with Tua on his ass not playing for 4 or 5 games. So I just don't understand the lack of respect. If to me, I'm sorry, if his name was Steve Smith and he was like this blonde, blue-eyed quarterback from Iowa, he'd be the second coming of Jesus Christ. But of course, it's Tua. It's this left-handed guy who never got respect at Bama even. So here we go. So I'm just gonna say Tua is going to be chip on his shoulder playing. He's gotten bulkier, stronger. He's going to be definitely a force. Cheetah and Waddle. Tyreek Hill and Waddle. They're going to be doing Cheetah and Waddle things, and that's going to be exciting. With again, full throttle Tua, confident Tua in the pocket. Still Tua. I don't care if you like him or not, he's still the single most accurate passer in football. He puts the ball on a dime exactly where it needs to be, and that's going to be exciting for Cheetah and Waddle to go back to that. I mentioned Vic Fangio. I mentioned the people you never heard of, like Ramsey and Jalen Phillips and Christian Wilkins and all these players that are going to be, again, in a system that makes perfect sense for them and their skill set. I think we're going to get some luck. I think we're high time. If you know, if you're a Dolphin fan, literally, it's like if there's like 1% chance of an Armageddon thing happening, get ready for it. It's coming. Armageddon's here because everything that can go wrong in the universe goes wrong for Miami. In fact, that's why we're the only fan base, I believe, with a 3-touchdown lead at halftime, and we're like biting our nails and crying because we cannot believe we're going to lose this game again. And it's just that's the fate of a Dolphins fan. But come on. I'm going to call out the Dolphin Nation to have some faith in Vic Fangio and his acolytes because we're going to do very, very well on defense. Okay. The intangible to me is like what is, obviously what it means, but what is no one's looking at this person. Braxton Berrios is a slot receiver, kind of former Jet, but he's a Cuban guy from Miami who played at the U, was a big standout there. Oh, he's a Patriot? Was he a Patriot? I'm sorry. I think
then a Jet.
Then a Jet. Okay, right. Patriot Jet. So he knows the rivalry. He knows he can traverse. He can traverse that minefield. But he's a kick returner, punt returner, which we haven't had a steady one. And now we have a slot receiver that can surprise. At given points, I think he could be a game changer in close games that people are not looking his way. He's really short, like 5'8", 5'9", or something. So he's in the Edelman school of. Let's surprise people here, please. And he's playing with a chip on his shoulder. He loves playing at home in Miami. He also has the type of Hollywood girlfriends and the type of thing. He's a good-looking guy. So he's definitely into that whole Miami, I want to be a star Miami guy. And the fun part, he opened up like a Cuban coffee type of fast food place. What?
So is everyone playing with a chip on their shoulder? Or?
It's good. It's good because we don't get any respect from people like, I don't know, Jonah Bayless.
What's Braxton Barrows' chip? Like...
It's a little one. He's small. He's a short guy, but he's gonna be playing tough. Do not sleep on Braxton Berrios. All right, and then we have the danger zone. Of course, the Dolphins have the second most difficult schedule because we play in the AFC East like everyone else there does, and we also have the NFC East. So we have to play the Eagles and the Cowboys, but we also have to play Kansas City in London, or Germany. Sorry, in Germany we play Baltimore Ravens at Baltimore. We play the Chargers to open the season at LA. So these are not gimmies by any chance. And then we play, the Jets twice, and we play, all the Bills and, the Patriots, So anyway, so the point is it's a very tough schedule. So that's going to be the intangible. To me, that's the proof in the pudding. We're going to be tested often and early to see if we're really good or not. So we'll find out. I think that's a good thing. And what am I? And the last thing I'll say about football in this case is, what are you most looking forward to? And we talked about it. It's to me, if Aaron Rodgers is really as good as advertised, and with a different team, with a different setup, with a different happiness quotient. So anyway, it looks like all systems would be that if everyone's firing on all cylinders, it's going to be AFC East is looking mighty, mighty, mighty.
Yeah.
So okay, so that's my Dolphins shtick. Do you want to go into our predictions now, or do you want to do something else?
Just the Richard Dolphins show. It's I'm done with my Dolphins. You guys, you want to go to the predictions, get this show over with?
let's move to cricket. Let's talk about cricket. We're done with football.
Here, let me just make a couple notable teams that did a lot of action, bringing in some players.
Yes,
I have. Well, I'll start with the AFC North. The Ravens, like everyone knew, like everyone's heard of the Odell Beckham. Oh my gosh, they went out and got Odell Beckham to help Lamar Jackson. But I didn't realize they also picked up Jadeveon Clowney for defense, as well as a cornerback, Ronald Darby. So they're
D-backs and Clowney together. Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh my god! Yeah.
They've revamped a little bit there. And then what else did I? Oh, the big one was the people that are a team that's really trying to do something. Now, granted, I don't think it's going to bring them like over any like massive hurdle. I don't think it's going to make them a Super Bowl contender by any means. But the Carolina Panthers, I give them a lot of credit. They took Bryce Young in the first round. And then they said, okay, we've got a young quarterback. We're going to go out and get Miles Sanders, running back from the Eagles. We're going to get Adam Thielen, wide receiver from the Vikings. We're going to get DJ Chark, wide receiver. We're going to get Hayden Hurst, a tight end. And then on top of that, we're going to go ahead and get ourselves a new head coach in Frank Reich.
They have no offensive line, but besides that, I think they have playmakers that are going to be on their ass the entire time.
Well, I mean, maybe we'll see, but like, I'm just saying, like they are obviously going well out of their way
they're playing to win. I mean, they're playing to win
to try and make something happen. Let's see what other. Oh, another notable switch up. Just to make sure we cover all of our bases is Derek Carr headed to the Saints, which obviously leaves. We got Jimmy Garoppolo filling in for the Raiders there. And the Cowboys. The Cowboys picked up Brandon Cooks, wide receiver there, as well as Stephon Gilmore. So I'll leave it right
Cowboys
there as far as our major pickups. The Bengals had one huge pickup that I think is going to make a massive difference. But we'll get into that as we get into our predictions. How about that?
Well, and Jalen Ramsey, by the way, which you mentioned before with the Dolphins, was a major pickup as well.
RPF.
Yeah.
We already covered the AFC East. Did I mention Aaron Rodgers? Aaron Rodgers is now a Jet, and they also picked up Dalvin Cook.
And Ezekiel. Okay, all right. So let's talk about our predictions, shall we?
All right, let's head into predictions. Let's go. Where do you want to start? I'll start anywhere you want.
Well, I came up with five unexpected things that will happen. That's something not quite the predictions, but let me just quickly jump into that, and you can quickly respond yes or no. Mahomes and Rodgers or Burrow will not win the MVP. I think these are unexpected things.
You mean it's basically like them against the field? Those three against the field? Okay.
Mahomes, Rodgers, and Burrow will not win the MVP.
Okay. Okay.
Right. I'll tell you later who I think will win.
I don't want to give away the big surprise at the end, man.
That's true. That's spoiler alert. No spoiler alert. All right. I said I think the New Orleans Saints are this year's Eagles. I think they do a deep playoff run.
Mm-hmm.
These are unexpected things, by the way.
Apparently not.
I say no one wants to play the Jaguars. I think they too will have a deep playoff run.
Okay, I know where you're going with it. Yeah. Okay.
I think the Eagles' A.J. Brown smokes the NFC field and becomes the best wide receiver in the conference by far.
Okay.
And the last one, of course, is I told you before, the Dolphins will get Jonathan Taylor from the Colts before the trade deadline. So those are my five unexpected things I think will happen in the football season.
All right.
Okay. Now, the winners. You want to go AFC East, or how do you want to do it? AFC all AFC, then all NFC, or vice versa? Or?
Yeah, AFC North. Let's go North. North,
AFC
South,
North.
East, West.
I have Cincinnati Bengals.
Yep.
You agree?
Done.
Okay.
I've
AFC
got
South.
Hang on. So in the North, real quick, I've got Bengals in finishing kind of in this order: Bengals, Ravens, Steelers, Browns, with an asterisk next to the Steelers, kind of like your maybe surprises that happen. Keep in mind. Keep in mind the Steelers still have Deontay Johnson. I'm forgetting the receiver Pickett. I know Kenny Pickett, but is the quarterback.
Right. But you also did. They just needed a quarterback. Yeah,
and they have Najee Harris, right? So my point is, keep in mind, like if and also keep in mind they have Mike Tomlin, who is like just refuses not to make the playoffs.
Correct. I know it's really crazy, right? Yeah.
So I have them as if Kenny Pickett can continue to progress, all right, and get a little bit better. I've got the Steelers as a kind of a watch out for them. I don't think they're going to the AFC Championship or anything, but I don't sleep on them to not make the playoffs. I guess. Okay.
South Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, Jaguars, Titans, Texans, Colts in that order. Texans and Colts are just going to battle for the basement.
I didn't go to the deep dive. I just went to the wild card later. I didn't want to go. Yeah. Okay, AFC West.
AFC.
Let me say it together with me. West. 1, 2, 3.
Chargers.
Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
Listen, I gotta say this. I'm looking up, and I'll finish it with a different statement. But I'm looking at the Chiefs roster, and I'm going. You've got Kadarius Toney as your number one receiver.
First of all, thank you for saying his name correctly.
Oh, did I? Why wouldn't I?
No, it's correct. It is correct. I'm very impressed.
How else would you say it?
Good question.
So you've got Kadarius Toney as your number one receiver. Again, so Kelsey's out for the first game. Who knows how much longer? But even aside from that, I just don't. Their receiving core does not threaten me. I suppose. With that said, if they do pull it off, like, I mean, then Mahomes is actually Mahomes. Like, you know how Tom Brady always had those arguments, and they're true, that he had just shitty receivers, but like he made them better, and he figured out how to put them in right places.
Well, they gave Belichick some credit for the system and the whole thing. Yeah.
Until Tom Brady left and they couldn't win anymore.
They realized that Belichick didn't have a good system.
They realized that
3rd and 7, 2-yard pass. Yeah,
they realized that Belichick doesn't throw the ball.
Exactly.
But so if the Chiefs can continue to be the Chiefs with Kadarius Toney as your number one receiver, then Patrick Mahomes, you are.
Listen, I feel you. I will tell you the same thing. I will tell you. I put the Chiefs because every year I say maybe this is the year they're not that good. And every year I'm proven wrong. And so until I'm proven wrong, I think the Chiefs have earned the right to be predicted as the top team.
And you know what? I'm kind of tired of that argument too, of like, well, until they prove otherwise. So here's my point. If there is a year, I think right now, if there is a year, I think right now the Chargers have more glamorous weapons to choose from. And the Chiefs are kind of they're in a lull. They're not going to be bad. Relax, people. I have them going to the playoffs. they're gonna make the wild card, but I think it's just a lull. They are where the Patriots used to be. A lull season for them is making the playoffs but not going to the Super Bowl. Like, everyone's disappointed now when Patrick Mahomes isn't in the Super Bowl.
Right, exactly. All right, so let's see. The top wildcard team for the AFC.
AFC top wildcard. So mine is the Chiefs.
Mine is the Buffalo Bills. All right. Like I said, I think they're going to snap out of it and be in mid-season scary form again. AFC wildcard number 2.
Dolphins.
I have Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
AFC wildcard number 3.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Steelers. Mike Tomlin, man, I'm telling you, he will refuse to not to get his team to the playoffs.
So, but then I have something called AFC surprise team that didn't make the playoffs, but surprised. I thought the Steelers were going to be for you there, but I have the Chargers there as a surprise team that's solid, that just barely get out of, like they're like 10 and 7 and didn't quite make it. The type of people, the type of team. So I think that, to me, that's the Chargers this year in the AFC.
I think for me, I think the surprise. I guess my surprise would be that the Ravens don't make the playoffs.
Right. I was thinking, where are the Ravens?
I didn't. I don't have them. Okay. I don't have them. I have. I know
the QBs chip on the shoulder, rested,
Oh my
clowny.
God! Here we go with the chip on the shoulder.
I was teasing you about that. Jesus, you're very tense today. I'm not sure what's going on with you. Just because the Patriots are not in any conversation with anybody, you're like all tense. All right. So this is the best day ever for me. So even your mood can spoil my attitude today. All right. Let's go to the NFC East. It's safer territory for your mood.
Is it?
Is it? Okay, maybe not. All
right.
NFC East.
NFC East. All right. I got Cowboys, Eagles, Giants, Commanders.
You put Cowboys on top of the Eagles?
I did.
Wow.
So here's what I got with the Cowboys. I've got their pickup of Brandon Cooks and Stephon Gilmore on defense. So now they've got Micah Parsons. He's okay. He's decent.
Pretty good.
He's okay.
He's pretty good.
They've got Micah Parsons rushing the passer, and they've got Stephon Gilmore in the backfield. Then they've got CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, and Michael Gallup. Potentially could be argued the best 3-receiver combo in the NFL. And then on top of that, I think you've gotten rid of Ezekiel Elliott. I think he was a distraction. I thought Tony Pollard was a better running back than Ezekiel was anyway.
Wow.
And I think they've gotten rid of him, so now they don't have to figure out how to get him the ball. And then the last one being, I think now Dak Prescott has Trey Lance breathing down his neck and understands that if he doesn't do this, he's gone.
You were with me. My point to all of this was 2 years ago when I thought for sure Dak Prescott had the same idea,
but he didn't have a backup. Pressure. Like they went out and traded for Trey Lance. Like
correct, that's true.
They're saying something. They're like going, "Okay, buddy."
And another intangible, I think, working in the Cowboys' favor is not having Deion Sanders in the sidelines being a fool. He's now in Colorado doing his thing over there. So I'm saying, so I think that's also obviously going to be a lot less pressure. Right. And I think they should keep Jerry Jones in the booth upstairs, get him off the field, and I think that the Cowboys will be in good shape. But I will say the Eagles, I think, have too many weapons still, and I think it's going to be. It could come down to the last weekend.
I mean, my notes here are the Eagles, and right next to my it says in parentheses, "will still be good."
Yeah, exactly right. All right, NFC North.
NFC North. I've got man. Hang on. What did I do here? I did Lions, Vikings, and then Bears, Packers. Packers are going to be awful.
I don't know. I think that's
awful.
Going to be. I have a different idea about that. I think I put the Lions here as well. So, and by the way, we're recording this day of the opening night of the season with the Lions. We'll get a quick assessment tonight on how they're going to be doing.
I mean, that one will be close. Yeah. Vikings and Lions will be real close.
Vikings, I don't know. I think Vikings could be the tank this year. I mean, they won 9 or 10 games on the last play of the game. I mean, it's literally.
I hear you.
I mean, just the balance of scale. I mean, it's not going to happen again, is it?
Yeah.
Right. It's going to be like. All right. Then the NFC South.
I got Saints, Panthers, Bucks, Falcons.
I have the New Orleans Saints as well. We'll talk about them in a second. NFC West.
And then the West, I've got 49ers, Seahawks, Rams, Cardinals.
Oh, I just realized why you're in a bad mood.
Why?
Because the Patriots had released Zappy, and then they put him on the practice squad.
Oh, no. No.
I just realized that's your favorite.
No. Hang on. No. That's not the foundation of my bad mood. The foundation of my bad mood is not that they released Bailey Zappi. It's that they still have Mac Jones.
That's exactly right. Why would they release Zappy when Zappy played well? I mean, I don't even understand.
I don't know. Yeah, well, they were certain that no one would pick him up off waivers. So,
and they were right.
And they were right. So,
yeah.
So somebody's smarter than I am, obviously, but
yeah, no, still. But I feel bad for Zappy. The 49ers are my NFC West. Is that yours as well?
Yeah. 49ers are going to be a beast.
Oh my God! And Bosa is happy and rich now. Signed yesterday to like the wealthiest contract ever in the NFL for a defensive player.
Yeah.
So that's and by the way, well deserved.
Not to mention they picked up Jason Hargrave, another defensive tackle. So basically what the 49ers did was said, we're going to have the same exact team, only with better defense.
Yeah, that's no bueno for the rest of us.
It's gonna be scary. It's gonna be
this is interesting. Let's get into the wild card. The top wild card team, number one.
All right, let me scroll down here. On top wild card team, Eagles.
I have Cowboys. So we're kind of
yeah. Okay. Right, exactly.
Okay, we won't be surprised if either one of us is whatever.
Right.
All right, wild card 2.
Vikings.
I put Packers.
No that way, could be my dude. No, come on.
I think my logic is they're rid of Aaron Rodgers instead of having to play with Aaron Rodgers.
Maybe.
I mean, the endorphin rush alone from teammates who actually like each other could be enough to propel them into a wild card.
Just the endorphin rush of a happy workplace.
And proper bath and shower gel products in the locker room. Finally. So anyway, Green Bay Packers is my surprise wildcard team number 2. And who's your third wildcard?
Third wildcard is Seahawks.
I have New York Giants. Because, truth be told, aren't the Giants always playing for the third wildcard at the last week of the season? I think the Giants could sneak in with their traditional 8-9 record. And
okay. They typically are, but that's usually because there's only one team from the NFC North.
Right. Correct. So listen, I just think that's going to be. So to me, my surprise team this year, who doesn't make the playoffs in the NFC, are the Seahawks. So that's going to be good to see that they're going to be competitive again and playing well.
So my surprise team for the NFC, and I'm not saying that they're going to make the playoffs. I just have them being I just have them being really, really terrible, unless the Baker Mayfield-led Tampa Bay Bucks, if Baker can have any sort of resurgence, they still have all their weapons.
I know.
They still have pretty much everyone that Tom Brady had.
How do they still have those people? How do they have those people? How did they retain them when Tom Brady left? I mean, that's the thing.
I don't know. But they still have them. And listen, Baker Mayfield was like a couple years ago. We were talking about him like he's
and potentially the new Peyton Manning. The new Peyton Manning for Pitchman on all the commercials, which I think it's very interesting. He's very engaging on camera, so he's good.
So that to me, and that's one of those things I mentioned it earlier in the show when I was kind of started to dig pretty deep into these rosters and everything. That's one I clicked on Tampa, and because I was like, who the hell's their quarterback? Because I was like, oh, Tom Brady left, and I clicked on the roster, and I was like, oh, Baker Mayfield. That's interesting to me.
Interesting, very interesting. Yeah.
Right, like he could. I'm not saying he's an MVP, but like he could be a very, very serviceable quarterback.
People have won Super Bowls with serviceable.
He could be a very serviceable quarterback for a very talented offensive roster in a very weak division.
I mean, yes, exactly right. So that could be a surprise team. I think that's a good pick. All right, AFC champion, my friend.
AFC champion. Let's see. You want me to go straight to the champion?
Yep.
I've got Bengals over the Chargers.
I got the Dolphins over.
What? I should have put the prediction in before the show even started.
I had the Dolphins over the Bengals.
Okay.
So
interestingly, I have the Bengals over the Dolphins in the divisional round, in the round before. So listen, hey, RPF, I got your Dolphins going to the division.
Listen,
round.
This is the first year you've ever shown any love. So I'm holding my breath because I think that's why you're in a cranky mood, because you're like having to put like this aquatic mammal in your roster. Well, interestingly,
the way my playoff picture shapes out, the Dolphins would be facing the Jaguars in the first round, and I have them beating the Jaguars, but you already stated earlier that the Jaguars might be the team that nobody wants to play.
Well, I think that's still true, but I have them as a team that that they're actually going to be I think they'll beat like the Chiefs or something, like in the first round of the playoffs. That type of thing. I think. All right, so let's go to the NFC. Who is the champion for you?
NFC champion. I've got 49ers over Cowboys.
I got Eagles over Cowboys.
I think what the 49ers have done with adding defense to their already stacked off. They're
So you're playing. So you're saying Bengals and
Bengals Niners.
Mm-hmm. I'm saying, Dolphins Eagles, and I have the Dolphins winning Super Bowl. Who do you have?
I got the Bengals over the 49ers.
So at least in a broad sense, we have the AFC winning, I think, correctly this year because we're stacked in the AFC. I think anyone who comes out of the playoffs victorious, if they have anyone standing up still from the bruising
so that's an interesting segue. Remember, I teased a pickup that the Bengals got. Mm-hmm. The Bengals picked up. Hang on, I got to go back to my notes here and find it. The Bengals picked up Orlando Brown Jr., who ESPN had touted as the number 1 ranked free agent. He's an offensive tackle. He's going to be covering Joe Burrow's blind side. Now, Joe Burrow's blind side used to be Jonah Williams. And when Jonah Williams heard that Orlando Brown was coming, he said, I want out. And then 3 weeks later, he said, you know what? I'll stay and put me on the right side.
Just kidding. Yeah.
And so now Joe Burrow has almost the ultimate protection on the left and the right. Joe Burrow, who's already a very, very talented player, is going to have more time than he had previously.
Thank you for the clarity in your statement.
And thus,
I am aware of what that means.
thus, Joe Burrow is going to be your season's MVP, and the Bengals are going to win the Super Bowl. However, Jamar Chase is going to be your Super Bowl MVP.
Very good. Very interesting. I have Super Bowl champion Miami Dolphins, and I have the NFL MVP as being Justin Herbert, which is very interesting to me. As you guys may know, he's the quarterback for the LA Chargers, and he's been grouped in this category of elite quarterbacks just out of default in some ways because he's been kind of like running on 8 of the 12
He's your
cylinders.
guy. He's your quarterback that you always look up like halfway or like even like 3/4 way through the season, and like you look at like the season leaders and you go, Justin Herbert? Like he's like, you know what I mean? He's, maybe it's because we're on the East Coast and he's way out on the West Coast. He's like, sure you see highlights on ESPN, but like I'm never like, oh my gosh, he's so amazing. But then like you look up and you're like, oh my God, he's like top 5 in every category. Like.
And I know this would be a shocker, but the Super Bowl MVP will be Tua Tagovailoa. So that's going to be my season for the NFL. To say nothing, I mean, I think that, but the one thing we can agree on, I think if anybody, just by survival of attrition and talent, any AFC champion will be favored, possibly, to win the Super Bowl. I think if everything is everything,
maybe.
like you said, if everyone plays to their potential,
Yeah.
All right. So anything else in football before we quickly just wrap up with a quick U.S. Open tennis note?
No, I think that puts a bow on our football preview. I think, like I said, you can guys listen up.
Give me your prediction notes for the Patriots. What's the Patriots going to be? What's their record?
Record?
You think?
Oh God. I was
not
looking
worse than 5-12 or something.
I was looking at their schedule the other day. They actually they play some pretty easy games, thankfully. But I'm going to be dead honest with you. Like the 6 games that they have against the AFC East, I don't feel great about a single one of them. So, like if they go 0-6 against the AFC East, I'm not shocked.
Your best shot, I think, is week 2, Sunday Night Football against Miami in New England.
Right.
That's going to be the best shot, I think.
I can agree with that. So a lot of this hinges around Aaron Rodgers, right? We've already talked about that. Hinges around how well he's playing. But like, I would be ecstatic if we split 3-3 against our division. Like if we split each game, but I don't think that's going to happen. We're going to get.
You're not going to do that.
We might split one. We might. There's one of those teams.
I think the Jets have a thing with you guys. I think you have the Jets number for some reason.
Yeah, I think we Rodgers or no Rodgers. I think we can get one from them. and maybe split another one with the.
Do you know if you play the Jets in New England, like in the snow?
No, I don't think so. I think
to...
it's. Maybe not. No, actually, I think we go down to the MetLife in October. Anyway, I'm thinking hopefully we can split 2 series. I don't think we're going to sweep anyone. I think hopefully we can split 2 of them. I don't know who that is right now, but that gives us 2 wins.
Hopefully the Bills and the Jets.
That means we're 2-4 against division in a hopefully, and then we still have to play all the NFC East teams like the Dolphins do, and so hey, we have Eagles week 1. Yay!
Oh, Eagles! Oh my God. That's right. I'm so upset because the Eagles, the Patriots-Eagles game is like the national game. Meanwhile, like Dolphins Chargers is like I had to like go to a bar like in Schenectady or something. It's like this whole. It's like, first of all, can we just complain? I had DirecTV for years with the Sunday Ticket. Now I have to I don't even know how to sign up for the YouTube channel. And can you pause it and do
damn
all
these
the things
crazy kids and their technology?
And that's streaming services. Like the Red Sox are playing on Amazon Prime on Friday. I'm like, wait, can I pause it and go grab a beer or something? And it was like you can't even. Yeah. I don't know.
I know.
All right,
but let me.
Okay, so
wrapped up Patriots. Unfortunately I have them under. Well, I shouldn't say well. I have them under 500. It might be a 10-loss season for them.
I have you at 8-9.
Yeah,
for the Patriots. So
I appreciate that.
I have Miami at not as perfect as you think. I have them.
Breaking news: Richard has Miami at 102 this season.
12-5. I have them at 12-5. All right, and the number 2 seed. All right, so we are going into today. As we mentioned, this is the day before. This is the post quarterfinals in the U.S. Open tennis, and people, I love tennis. This is to me my favorite Grand Slam. It's in New York City. It's a hard court, which kind of to me is a great equalizer for all the talent. Like you said, let's get the injury out of the equation for football when we predict. Right. When you get all the conditions when you just play tennis for skill, it's a hard court. Forget the skipping, the sliding of the clay, and then the grass. The ball doesn't bounce and all this stuff. This is all neutralized and fairly so on the hard court at the U.S. Open. Mm-hmm. So the 2 best matches of the year. Let's start with the men. The 2 best matches of the year have been Carlos Alcaraz, the Spanish phenom, who's number 1 in the world, with Novak Djokovic, the Bond villain in the troika of GOAT discussions with Rafa Nadal and Roger Federer. Nadal, and taking the year off, so Djokovic has now found this 20-year-old as a new rival, and they've had the 2 matches that they've played that were epically, charged up have been at Wimbledon, where Alcaraz dethroned Djokovic in 5 sets. We talked about that before. Epic battle, incredible. And then he just played 2 out of 3 sets in a tune-up tournament, not tune-up tournament, but it's 1,000-level, the high-level tournament in Cincinnati. They both played, and they got to the finals. They played 3 sets, 4-hour match in 3 sets. It was, I can't even tell you, it was 11 match points were saved. Alcaraz getting balls in the 3rd row of the fan. It's just insane level of tennis, which Djokovic managed to win 7-6 in the last set. So now move forward to the U.S. Open, where Alcaraz is top seed, Djokovic is the 2nd seed, and all this other noise is happening. Of course, the big tournament, so all these subplots and different things just going on. The Americans have had a great run, both on the men and women's side, which is tremendous, including Ben Shelton, an unranked 20-year-old left-handed, goofy, tall American, is in the semifinals against Djokovic, which is he's ranked number 42, so he wasn't even seeded in the tournament. Anyway, so that's exciting for American tennis. They had deep runs by Taylor Fritz and Frances Tiafoe and all these people that were American, so that was great. On the women's side, well, anyway, so now in the semifinals, Carlos Alcaraz plays Medvedev, who was the champion 2 years ago, against Djokovic. So essentially, it's going to be Djokovic and Alcaraz once again in an epic final, which, of course, given my life, the 2 things in sports I love the most are the Miami Dolphins and Carlos Alcaraz playing tennis. They're both playing at 4:00 on Sunday Eastern time. So so it's like, so talk about my divided split screen, mentality. On the women's side, as I've been predicting all summer, Coco Gauff has had her breakthrough. She's defeated everyone. She's smoking the field. She's now in the semifinals tonight, playing one of the OVA people. All these women and their last name is OVA. There's like 80 of them. This is Mukova, which is a new OVA I had never heard of. Apparently, she's the 10th seed. She's gonna, Coco will beat her and get to the finals, potentially to play another American, Madison Keys, which again is former finalist, never won a Grand Slam. Last time she got to the U.S. Open final, she completely choked. She played another American, and she lost to her. So anyway, so she's playing Sabalenka, who is now the number one player in the world as of this coming Monday, because Iga, the woman who hasn't lost in 2 years, finally lost, and she is no longer in the tournament. So Sabalenka is favored to beat Madison, but Madison's playing so well. Anyway, it could be an All-American final for the women, and it could be, probably will be, the top 2 players in the world right now in the U.S. Open men's final. So the U.S. Open, of course, has broken every attendance record. They have no lines people now, which is all electronic. Thank God. There's no arguments. There's no there's no discussion about it. So it's been seamless. Of course, hot weather. People are fainting on the stands. It makes it New York. But ultimately, if you guys want to get a little bit of a respite from the all football all the time diet, you have a great final weekend coming up for the U.S. Open, and that is my. When
do you know when those matches are?
The women playing the finals. The women's finals is Saturday at, I believe, at 4:00.
So when are the
Eastern time. Semifinals are tonight for the women, and the semifinals are Friday for the men. Okay, so that's going to be Friday, I believe, at 4:00 and like 7:00. Yeah.
So
and then you have
Thursday, Saturday for the women, Friday, Sunday for the men.
Exactly right.
Yeah, okay.
And then yeah, exactly. All right. So that is our report.
Congratulations,
Joanna. You know what they said about us? They said we wouldn't last.
And we officially made it. This is the first episode in the last maybe 4 that we had that I didn't get an opportunity to use my football to football transition. So
oh my God, I even talk about him, and Messi had another stellar
I know.
appearance in LA. We'll talk about that at some point. But Messi's as good as advertised, as good as advertised.
As advertised. All right, that's all the time we have for today's episode of Sports, of course, with Jonah and RPF. We thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate each and every one of you. You can find us anywhere you listen to your podcast: Apple, Spotify, Podbean, all the great platforms, as well as socially over on Instagram and X, and also found on our dedicated YouTube channel. Just head over to any of those platforms and type in Sports, of course, with Jonah and RPF, and we should pop right up for all of your listening pleasure. RPF, I can't wait. It's football weekend. Here we go.
I can't wait to see your text today at halftime during the Lions resurgence tonight.
Can't wait.
We'll see.
We'll see you.
Okay.